is our next horse in our uncut series. This is Paris. He's a greener horse. We've had him in training for like 2 months, and he is a mustang that was born in the wild, and he had pretty little training when he came here to us. So we're going to use him today for our talking through training session. And one of our horses isn't feeling very well today, who's really special to me, so I'm not quite as talkative as usual, but we're going to do our best. So one of the things that you really want to focus on when working the green horses is focusing on getting them to become square. So first you need them to be square standing still, which you can see this horse is already starting to learn pretty well. And then you need to get them to be square in motion. So a common thing that this horse does is he likes to splay on the hind, especially when I ask for direct rein. So if he steps more than the width of his hips away from me with his hind end, then he's splaying. So that actually wasn't too bad for him. So that's my direct. And I'm going to do indirect. And now I'd like him to not bend away from me when I do the indirect. Now he's pushing his shoulder in towards me. So I'm going to stop and back him off the shoulder just really gently. And what I should feel is it should feel like he's bent in this direction, and when I'm lunging him, it should feel like he's lifting a little bit off of the shoulder, that the shoulder isn't creeping in closer to me. So when I shorten him, that's a good test to see how square he is. So it's not uncommon with the green horses that they'll kick out like he just did. So he did start to square up. And so when he does start to square up in motion, he likes to pop the shoulder in closer to me because he's trying to avoid the squareness, and then he's not square. So this is a little bit of a counted walk, and that's pretty good for him, especially for just first starting out. So then I'm going to let him walk out, and I'm going to clear the gate because there's somebody else who wants to come in. So we're going to start to migrate. So I'm going to ask him for a shoulder in. Now the hard thing about asking him for a shoulder in, where I'm at right now, is that it's easy for him to splay on the outside hind. And that's actually pretty good for him. So I'm going to let him walk out as his reward. So ways that we can reward our horses is we can change the question. We can let them walk out, and we can also stop and let them have what I call a little bit of a coffee break. Now he struggles a lot more on this right side, so he really likes to overbend on the right side. It's gotten a lot better, and splay on his left hind. So like there, he's splaying on his left hind. So one of the things you can do when they splay is then place the weight there. So I place the weight there through my right indirect rein. I got him more balanced and square in motion. So then I let him out on the line again. So he's bent to the right, but the bend isn't even. So he's got a lot of bend here and not a lot of bend here. So that's why I'm coming in a little closer to him, and I'm trying to even out that bend. I want the bend to be evened out and to get the relaxation in the neck, but not at the expense of him spinning out on the left hind. And so you can hear that he's doing a lot of snorting, which is a good sign. It means that he's relaxing and letting tension go. Now I'm going to increase the walk. So it's important for us to get a full range of motion in our horse's gaits. We should be able to get maximum walk and pee off. So those are the two bookends of the range of motion in the gait. So if I get the walk right before the horse trots, and if I get pee off, then that's the shortest version. The benefit of lengthening is you get more lateral push. It's going to strengthen the hamstrings. When you shorten, you get more diagonal push, and that's going to help strengthen the loins. So shortening and getting them to do a counted walk or a pee-off can be proof that the horse is square in motion. So just like he did on the other side, when I ask him to shorten on this side, he does the same thing. He falls on the left shoulder. So one of the things I can do is change primaries, get the weight off the left shoulder, change primaries, get the weight off the right shoulder. I can also put him up against the rail. So there, he kind of got a little fussy and tried to make me move. I stood my ground because I didn't want to adjust the space to him. So a common thing that you get with green horses is that they think the space is going to adjust to them, and you have to get them to adjust to the space. Now that being said, if I feel like my life is in danger, I will move, but I need to use my position and the position, oh, what a good boy, in the arena to be able to ask him for things. So I can use those things as in me and the position of the rail or other objects in the arena to help position him without using force, because he's not going to challenge the arena fence, for example. And so he stopped pretty nice and underneath himself, you can see, but he's kind of wonky on his shoulders, so that's why I'm pushing down on the top of the withers, and then I tap. And so what you can see on this right shoulder is his shoulder is ahead of his hoof, so that's why I wanted that, but not quite as big of a step. And then ta-da, he's square, so I'm going to give him a little break for a second. If you want to learn more about work in hand and how to get a more harmonious relationship with your horse and learn how to communicate in harmony with your horse, check out our online Harmony in Hand course. The link is in our bio on the Instagram. So it's common when we get new horses in that they don't line up to the mounting block. And even when we use the stairs mounting block that is movable, we want to train our horses to line themselves up to the mounting block. So you can see that I'm using a little bit of right bend, and the horse naturally wants to move away from the bend. And then I draw a little bit forward on my left rein. Now I can just switch back and forth and turn it into an exercise. So it's not very often that we have horses that have this issue because they learn that it's a lot more work for them to mess around the mounting block than to line themselves up. Like so. Now this horse, he does a lot of typical green horse stuff where you'll see he doesn't know how to connect with the bit, so he'll lean on the left corner of the mouth and he'll lean on the right corner of the mouth, or he'll kind of push his weight down, or he'll lay behind. So it's important to have good, consistent connection that never draws back. And so one of the things you can do when you have a horse that doesn't have consistent touch is you can comb the reins. And so when I comb the reins, I'm bringing on my right hand my first finger through, and on my left hand my pinky finger through. And it doesn't matter if he tries to lean or overbend, you can see that there's this constant light connection that I have with him. And so that can be such a great tool for teaching both you and the horse how to maintain the connection, because it can be tricky when you're learning to maintain a good soft connection. And so you should be able to get all your control that way while combing the reins. When you do have a horse that is green, you'll see sometimes that my hands come up. So it's really important to not pull back and not pull on him. And so you'll see that I'll come up a lot more than I do on the other videos with our horses that are more trained, and it's because I'm readjusting the rein. So one of the things you can say about what he's doing with his head wiggles and stuff is he keeps on trying to change the connection. So again, I just keep a nice consistent connection that's never tight or pulling. And so right now he's falling on the left shoulder, so it's really important that I don't block him on the right rein. I just came up really nice and gently on the left rein and did an indirect rein to get his weight off of that shoulder. And there he's falling in and he's a little counterbent, so that's so much easier to fix than it used to be. So sometimes it doesn't really look pretty when you fix that because you put the horse's forces against themselves instead of putting the horse's forces against your strength. But once the horse learns that they'll just run into themselves, then they adjust really quickly and easily. So there I asked him to shorten and it was a little too much, but it could be that he just doesn't quite have his balance yet. So here, just like on the ground, I'm asking him to shorten, and it's the same thing I found on the ground. So he wanted to fall on the left shoulder. So again, I just do a little bit of a left indirect rein, and I want him to bring his hind underneath. So you can see that as I ask him for things that are harder, he starts to wiggle in the position a little bit more. So one of the things that I like to think about when I'm working the horses, but especially the green horses, is it's like I'm stacking the puzzle pieces. And then I test the puzzle, and then I see what pieces are missing or aren't quite working right. And then I just readjust to try and get the position or the request that I want. So I want him to come up and shift his center of gravity further back, but I don't want him to brace. And so there he fell on the left shoulder, and then he fell on the right shoulder. And so even people who don't really know a lot about their horse being square when they're riding them feel that issue. So when he falls on his left shoulder, for example, I want to fix it on the right rein. If he falls on the right shoulder, I want to fix it on the right rein too, because my right rein is my primary rein right now. So what most people do is like he falls on the left shoulder and then they use the left rein, and then he falls on the right shoulder and he uses the right rein. When you do that, you're never going to be able to have a horse that is truly balanced and has their own position. So like there, he was getting a little bit tense, so you could see that I really opened my fingers so that I didn't give him something to brace against. And see there, he's shifting his weight a little bit too much in his chest, so that's why I'm going to have him stop him back. And it's okay that he spins. So that spin wasn't crazy big, which is why I agreed with it. And then I try to go into a direct rein. And now I'm going to take him into a little bit of a shoulder in. Ah, that's pretty good. He's stepping a little wide on his shoulders. I can feel he's splaying just a little. See, now that's good. So I'm going to let him just stop and stand on a long rein. But I do want him to stay in the arena. So a lot of times when you ride green horses, they'll do that stuff where they bend like he just did. And so what he's doing is he's doing a flexion. And this horse in particular oftentimes does his flexion by bending to the left. And so here I can feel he's like, we don't go to this end of the arena very often. And he was a little bit nervous. So I made sure to keep myself calm. And then I just think about asking him a new question, giving him something to distract him from his potential fear. And there he's falling on the left shoulder again, which has been his common theme for today. So if I do a good right direct rein, then that should place the weight onto the right front, which should stop him from leaning on the left. And I come up a little with my rein because he isn't quite balanced to try and help with my half halt. And so when he's falling like that, it's very important that there he goes, that I stay in a good position, because if I start to lean and fall with him, it's going to make his job even harder. But his job is to hold himself into a good position so that it's easy for me to sit, and then we can truly become together and one, which is what we want. So now I'm going to switch primary. So he fell on the left shoulder and I came up on the left primary. It's easier when you're working green horses, or when you're learning yourself to have your whip on the same side as your primary rein. So that's why I switched. So I'm going to do some shoulder ins on this side to help him get the weight lifted off of the left front. So that was good, and then he leaned. Very good. Very good. So you can see like that was the same thing he was doing when I was on the right rein. It's easier for me to fix when I'm on the left rein, and now it feels like he's standing square and he's quiet and he was balanced, so I'm just gonna let him go. And our vet is here, so I'm gonna go check on our sick horse. I hope you enjoyed this video, and our uncut training videos will be an ongoing series.